Welcome to New Possibilities. I speak truth to power without fear. So, this is a quick live stream before I head into work. I wanted to talk about LeBron James and Steph Curry making statements about Donald Trump. Basically, LeBron James said no matter who wins the championship, the NBA championship, no one really wants an invite from the White House. And basically, Steph Curry, when he did his press conference, he basically co-signed what LeBron James was saying. He said, "I agree with LeBron." So it's great to see these brothers stand up. Take a stand against this president, this man who is a disgrace to the nation. The thing is, Donald Trump uninvited the Philadelphia Eagles to the White House. They were scheduled to go to the White House because they won the Super Bowl, and a lot of players on the team decided that they were not going to go to the White House. So there were still some players that were willing to go to the White House. And because so many players decided not to go to the White House, Donald Trump felt embarrassed. This guy has an ego that's out of control. So because of that, he decided, well, I'm going to cancel the whole thing. And at first, he cited the fact that, he cited the whole thing about them taking a knee during the game. That's the reason why he decided not to invite them to the White House. And the fact of the matter is, during last year's season, none of the Eagles players actually took a knee. And, that's something that I didn't realize at the time. Like, I didn't realize that none of them took a knee, but still, Donald Trump still tried to rationalize this based on them allegedly not being patriotic, which is nonsense. You know, and basically a lot of them took a stand because of Donald Trump's attitude towards those players who decided uh, not to stand during the playing of the national anthem. Shout out to Nikki Justice. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you have a good morning as well. Um, but yeah, so they were probably just outraged because Donald Trump called those players who protested SOBs. This man, talked about how they should be fired and this and that. So because of that demeaning language and because of Donald Trump's atrocious record, they decided that they would not go to that White House visit. They decided not to go to the White House. So because of that, Donald Trump is like, well, I'm not going to invite anybody. I'm going to uninvite everybody because some of the players decided not to come to the White House. And then again, he came up with this cockamamie excuse about them being unpatriotic and all this and that. And again, none of them participated in those kneeling protests, national anthem protests. So Donald Trump is just flat out wrong when he says that they were unpatriotic and this and that. And even those who decided to take a knee during the playing of the national anthem, that is not a sign of a lack of patriotism. They are speaking out against police brutality, and that's the thing that's like getting downplayed and all this controversy between Donald Trump and these football players. The fact of the matter is, those brothers who are standing up, by kneeling, they are making a bold statement against police brutality, a pervasive problem in our community, where these police are able to kill black people and get away with it. So this is a cause that is worthy of attention. And it's great that you have football players who are using their fame and their fortune and their notoriety and their platforms to speak out on this very important issue. And the last thing that needs to happen is that they shouldn't be condemned. That's the last thing that should happen. Shout out to Briscoe. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, so I just wanted to mention that real quick. And then, now I want to talk about Bill Clinton. Like, he's gotten to some heat. He had an interview the other day on the Today Show. And, this reporter was basically asking him about the Monica Lewinsky situation. And this reporter basically asked him if he apologized to Monica Lewinsky personally for the whole situation that occurred. And, this has stirred up a whole new set of controversy involving Bill Clinton, because right now we have the Me Too movement and people are talking about the impact of that and they're questioning Bill Clinton about that. And as you all know, this whole thing with Monica Lewinsky happened like 10 years ago. Shout out to Ali Emmett. Shout out to you. Thanks for tuning in. Good morning. But yeah, this whole thing happened a long time ago. Shout out to Briscoe. Shout out to Water Sniper. But yeah, this happened like 20 years ago, but reporters are asking them about it now because of this whole Me Too movement. And they were asking him if he thought that they asked him if he apologized to Monica Lewinsky personally, and he basically said that he did not apologize to her personally, but he made a public apology to his family and to her, but he didn't walk up to her or talk to her personally about it. And that just made me think about a couple of things. The first thing I thought about is whether or not he even owes her an apology. This is not a situation of sexual harassment in the workplace. They had a consensual relationship. So since it was consensual, the question is whether or not he should have apologized to her. For a consensual relationship. Shout out to Wiseman. Thanks for tuning in. But yeah, it's just a question. Like, since they had a consensual relationship, they were consenting adults, even though she was much younger than him. Even though he was having an affair, does he really even owe her an apology? And my first reaction when I first thought about it, I was like, no, he doesn't owe her an apology. They had a consensual relationship. But upon further reflection, I thought about how he does owe her an apology. Shout out to Nagon11. Thanks for tuning in. I see Nikki Justice said no. But yeah, that was my initial reaction. I was like, he doesn't owe her an apology. They were two consenting adults. This wasn't a situation where he was making unwanted advances toward her. They were engaged in a relationship, you know, whether it's just a sexual relationship or even, a more intimate type of relationship. Um, so I see Nate Gone said Bill Clinton owes her nothing. And then somebody else said zero. Yeah. Yeah. So from that perspective, I was like, no, he doesn't owe her, any kind of apology. But when I thought about it, I said he probably does. I mean, even though he did apologize, I think that was worthy. He should have apologized, and he should have apologized in person. And the reason why I say that is for a couple of reasons. Number one, he was her, in terms of the power relationship, he's the president of the United States, and here she is just some intern. So the power dynamics in that relationship um, are considered when you talk about whether or not this relationship was appropriate or whether or not it was actually fully consensual, given the power dynamics. And also, another reason why he really should apologize, and the main reason why he should apologize, is because he basically denied that they had any kind of relationship. He basically put her out there and basically said, well, no, we didn't have any kind of relationship. And he publicly did so. So he was denying her and rejecting her and basically dissing her and pretending like they didn't have anything going on. So in that sense, he deserves to apologize to her. And then the fact of how things turned out in terms of her reputation, like her reputation was destroyed because of that affair. Uh, that's all she's going to be known for the rest of her life, as having an affair with Bill Clinton. And she's to blame for it, obviously as an adult and all that kind of stuff, knowing that she's having sexual relations with this man who's married, so she knew what she was getting into. I mean, to an extent, you could say, well, she knew what she was getting into. This is the president of the United States. Um, he's married and this and that. So she knew that if this ever came out, that it would be a big deal. And then also the fact that she saved a dress with semen on it tells you that she knew that something possibly could happen. There could possibly be a situation where this is brought into question. Makes her like less innocent in this whole situation. She's not innocent at all. So I'm gonna look at your comments real quick. Just bear with me a second. So most people are just saying that they don't think that she should have apologized. I mean, that he apologized. Yeah, it's hard to read these comments, but I want to thank y'all for tuning in, man. Watch this, after the live stream. I want to hear from y'all. What do you think? Do you think Bill Clinton should have apologized, or why not? What do you think about LeBron James and Steph Curry standing up to Donald Trump? Um, I think that's great. Like, even though they are competing against each other for the championship, and we know that the Golden State Warriors look like they're probably gonna win, man. I mean, that guy Steph Curry is incredible, man. But with all those 3-pointers and this and that, man. And somebody told me, like, they were saying, like, it's going to be hard to beat the Golden State Warriors. The only team that can beat them is the Golden State Warriors themselves. So we'll see how things turn out, man. But I want to hear from y'all, man. Tell me what y'all think about, this whole thing with LeBron James and Steph Curry speaking out against Donald Trump, and then this whole thing about Bill Clinton and this issue of one of the things that caused a lot of controversy with your interview was the fact that he was more so concerned about himself during that interview. He was talking about how, because of that controversy involving Monica Lewinsky, he ended up $16 million in debt. I think about complaining about some student loans, and this guy is $16 million in debt over some relationship issue, man. It's just amazing how, like, people put everything on the line for sex, man. He got impeached over sex. His reputation was destroyed over sex. In a lot of ways that like undermined some of the accomplishments of the Clinton administration. So it's just like another example of like how people are willing to risk everything over some sex. But anyway, with that, I'm going to say peace and blessings to each and every one of you. Thanks for tuning in to this Google Hangout. I plan to do more formal hangouts. I'm probably going to do some hangouts coming up. It's probably going to be, you all have an awesome day.